Video's running?
Video's running.
All right. It's just making sure everyone's waving, making sure the camera's good. Go like this as fast as you can, Mike. That's good. All right. It's not a whole lot of blurry. That's what I was worried about. I updated some of the drivers, so I was trying to get that all worked out.
What kind of drivers?
Video card drivers.
Oh, not like drive your car.
No, nothing like that.
Oh.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Now for something special. The unit is self-contained with its own saddler, farrier, wheelwright and so on. It's a rigorous training, dished out who know all there is to know about horses, and it brings results.
We take you behind the scenes now to show just some of the interesting aspects of this training.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein, the #1 podcast to create sounder horses from the ground up. Mike Stein is a registered journeyman farrier with an APF 1 accreditation. On this week's episode, talking terminology, 3 basic pastern conformations. Also, proper balance movement, chapter 11, the balance of the rider on a horse. Also, a case study of a horse named Eileen. All this and much, much more we discussed here on Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein. And over to my far inside is Mike Stein. How are you?
I am doing good, Travis. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. And don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video. You can see me waving to Mike, Mike waving to me here in the studio. And go over to YouTube and see that video. Make sure you like and subscribe over there as well. We've got a lot of visuals. Mike's over there doing hand puppets. We have a lot of visuals that we have here in the studio, and the way you can see that and be part of it is to go over to YouTube and make sure you subscribe over there as well. Now, speaking of visuals, Mike, we briefly touched on last week. Unfortunately, we ran out of time last week, but we briefly touched on that you had a clinic 2 weeks ago that you were part of. Now, you did the clinic out at the in-town equestrian stables. And then you also did a clinic out at Dover Saddlery, and we didn't get into that clinic. Tell us what happened and everything that, like big showing, a lot of people, and what you talked about during that clinic out there.
We had a nice little group. They were interested and all pleasant and friendly, and we're all buddies now.
Oh, sure.
But no, we had a pretty good showing. And
so how'd you get connected with Dover Saddlery with doing a clinic out there?
That is a good question.
You just walk in the door and go, I'm here. I'm Mike Stein. Where do you want me? And they're like, who are you? Mike Stein from the podcast.
Well, what do you do? You know,
the lady at the desk, the lady at the desk probably goes, oh, the UPS guy, just put the packages over there, sir.
Actually, I had a client that was looking out for me who sent me a message and sent me contacts, because they were putting together clinics for Dover Saddlery, and it was your wife.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad. Good for her.
Yes.
Keep her on the ball.
She does serve a purpose every now and then, right?
Now and then she does, yes.
Yes.
Well, good. I'm glad she was able to help you out. And I assume you had a good clinic over there, and everyone good turnout. And
yes.
Everyone had...
Nobody threw anything or anything like that. We were over where they have the boot section, set up the boots, and nobody threw boots at me.
What was your main topic during this clinic that you had out there?
We were talking about primarily hoof distortions and hoof abnormalities and how to deal with them.
Well, great. And one of the benefits of you going out there is that they've actually given us a bunch of gift cards to give out to our listeners. So this is what we're going to do. So everyone pay attention. If you've got a Dover Saddlery near you, and I think you can use these online as well. So if you want to order something from them, what I need you to do is to email Mike Stein at any time, equinedynamics.com. Ask him a question, put a return address on there, and we'll send you out one of these gift cards. Also, if you're not part of the Facebook fan page, make sure you go to Equine Dynamics Mike Stein on Facebook, and also now join us over on YouTube. And we're going to pick one of those people that comment on Mike Stein's posts on Facebook or YouTube as well at random. So we got only a few here, so get those comments in. Make sure they're good comments. We just want you to put a comment up there saying, hey, I'm here for the free gift card, that type deal. Actually get involved. That's what we wanted to do. We spent a lot of time getting this information to you. We just want to hear back from you and to say thank you. And Dover Saddlery says thank you as well.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is a mouthful.
Yeah, they were quite pleasant. Then go visit Dover Saddlery and tell them you heard about it from us.
Tell them Mike Stein from Equine Dynamics sent you.
That's right.
Now, you said something's going on this, is it this weekend, the South Carolina Horse Council?
No. The South Carolina Horse Council, I just got approved for.
Oh, okay.
a clinic they're going to do at the end of February. Sometime in February. I'll get dates a little closer.
Okay. And
Michael Stewart is going to be in there.
I was going to say, what makes this clinic special?
We're going to really talk about hoof lameness, locomotion, anything to do with horses' feet and soundness. I don't know what everybody's doing, but Dr. Stewart was on the show, will be there. And we were talking about having Megan Radkin, who is a vet podiatrist that's out of Raleigh, North Carolina there. And also they had approved talking to Dr. Marty and talking about nutrition with Dr. Marty.
Well, it sounds like everyone that's been on our show is going to be at this location.
It's amazing how that worked out, isn't it? Now, they actually want me to do a presentation, and I'm going to run a slideshow that we did at the Hoof Care Summit in 2020, and we're going to get into looking at the horse's body and how you obtain information from the horse's body to make decisions on performance issues, lameness issues, whatever is coming at you.
Did they ask about me at all, Mike? They
really wanted you more than me because,
you told them my busy schedule?
You're just so busy.
They said, all right, we'll get the other guy.
We'll try to get him there, but we'll fall back on seconds if we got to.
So can't get Travis in there, so we'll go ahead and go with Mike's sign, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's okay. I know everything's good over there, and I'd rather you go over there because I'll just stand in front of him and go, hey, how's it going?
Yes, but you do that so well.
How about the Orlando Magic? How they doing? And that's all stuff. All right, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. We got a big show to get into, lots to talk about. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein. He'll be right back. Oh, I already wrote it down. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein. Like I said, we're handing out some gift cards from Dover Saddlery, and the way you can get those is go over to Facebook. Make sure you like Facebook, or like Mike Stein over on Facebook. Search Equine Dynamics Mike Stein. Also, anyone who comments on the YouTube channel, we're going to pick one of you guys at random. Search YouTube Equine Dynamics Mike Stein, and we'll pick one of you guys at random, and I'll reach out to you, and I'll get your mailing address, and we'll mail these out to you, probably with a couple prize packs and stuff as well. And over to my far hand side is Mike Stein.
Hello, Travis. How are you doing this morning?
Doing all right. You look good over there. Your little incident with your nose you got kicked in the face with a horse.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Looks good, and you can see that over YouTube as well. Now, talking terminology. This part of the show is basically if you hear some barn talk as far as like different terminologies or different words that people use, some people might call one thing 15 different ways. We try to clear up the air a little bit so you're a little bit more knowledgeable, and that's what we try to preach here on Equine Dynamics. Just giving you a little bit more further education so you can go and be more confident when riding your horses and dealing with your horses and being around your horses. So this week we're going to talk about the 3 basic pastern conformation. The first one is ideal, second is long and weak, and the third one is short and steep. So let's dive into the first one, Mike. Ideal.
Right. Ideal. We're kind of catching it between the two, and
you want me to change to the camera angle here?
Sure, change to the camera angle.
All right,
change the camera angle.
We're going to go to camera 3 because Mike's got some pictures here on the old camera 3 here, so you can see exactly what he's talking about. So what are we looking at here, Mike?
Yeah, this is out of the horse industry handbook, the pictures. And an ideal angle, we talk about the coffin bone angles, and coffin bone angles vary. So that's going to play a part of it. I don't know that I can give you an exact number. Something like 53, 54. I don't know.
I'll go with it.
55. Mm-hmm. And you got to have enough room under the coffin bone for your digital cushion and all that, and sulcorium and everything else. So if you're too flat, well, that creates another issue. But
now, do you actually use like a protractor, like the old one in school, that plastic one, the little half moon looking thing, to measure these angles? Or is there a tool to measure these angles? Or are you just kind of eyeballing it?
You learn to eyeball it.
Okay.
There are tools, but the protractors they make for the hoof, what they were designed for is really building pad stacks.
Okay.
And the other thing is, when they're under load on compression, and where's the foot under full load. And there are ways to measure it with gauges you can place on the front of the hoof, as long as everything internally lines up with the hoof wall. So if you've got some distortion in there, that may not be a true reading. One thing is doing some drawing games over and over. You can kind of learn to nail those angles pretty close visually, but it takes a lot of time training yourself. If you got too long of a pastern, too low of an angle, you're going to have more soft tissue injuries. If you got one that's too upright, you're going to have impact injuries. Your little stubby, short pastern horses that end up with more navicular type problems and all that sort of deal. If also, what is it doing to the knee and everything further up the leg because of the angulation and the impact and how the load is bared? Is that reasonable enough explanation?
Yes. Well, here's the thing that I ask. Now, you haven't gotten into long and weak, have you?
Long and weak?
No. Have you?
We can get into long and weak.
Okay. So are we talking about ideal? I'm sorry, Mike. Are you talking about ideal right now?
We were talking about ranges on either side, but
okay.
Ideal is hovering between long and weak and short and stubby.
Okay.
So you're in that position where we're minimizing impact, but we're not at a point where we are overloading tendons and ligaments.
Now, are some animals, for example, I'm looking at the here on the video camera here, I'm looking at the short and steep. That hoof right there, I would see more common in almost like a goat. Would that be a true statement to say, or do goats need to follow this same pattern as far as the 50% or anything? I know you don't work on goats, but I'm looking at the hooves of the animals. I would say the first one would be a horse, the second one I don't know what it would be, and the last one will be a goat's foot.
Right, a goat or a donkey.
Okay, yeah, donkey would be better. Yes,
and donkeys are going to be a little short, stubby pasterns and more upright.
Traditionally, they're like that.
Traditionally, yes.
Okay, and that's okay for that animal, I'm assuming.
That's who they are.
Okay,
it's just like you're Travis.
I am Travis. Whether you like it or not, I am.
That's right. But when you come in on these horses, you see that foot and you start reading between the lines and you start deciding where you can and cannot go with it. Just from as you walk up to the horse, you start getting an idea where you need to go with the horse.
So last week we were talking with Dave Farley,
right?
And he made a statement that was a pretty bold statement, saying it takes 10,000 horses or 10 years,
right,
in order to become considered a professional. Now, out of these 10,000 horses, traditionally, how many would be ideal, and how many do you actually would have problems with?
Well, I'll tell you, talking about what Mr. Dave said, I think it takes 10 years to start becoming a solid farrier.
Okay.
It takes 20 years, and you think you really know something at that point. At 30 years, you figure out you didn't know anything. But at 30 years, you can start working off a gut feeling and be pretty accurate as long as you've been paying attention for those 30 years and not just slap and run.
But out of those 10,000 horses, how many do you think, is it 80% that they're pretty much ideal? Or is it, the horses that we have today aren't in that ideal situation that the horse's foot is in?
Every horse you walk up to is going to throw something different at you.
I know. It's a loaded question.
Right, they're going to throw something different at you, and I don't know that I could put numbers to that.
Yeah.
But when we're buying horses, we need to think about that real hard, because longevity of your horse and usefulness of your horse long term, this does make a big difference.
So ideal is defined by the pasterns moderate in length, with angles slightly steeper in the rear legs as compared to the front. The long and weak, horses' pasterns are too long relative to the length of the limb, are weak, and may propose the horse to injure the tendons and ligaments.
Correct.
And then the short and steep pasterns give the horse a choppy, rough stride that may lead into lameness due to the extra concussions on the bone column.
Correct.
All right. So, and all of these, I'm assuming, with proper maintenance and care and stuff, you can adjust them or fix them to a certain degree to where they're happy.
Yes. That's two degrees. I mean, you deal with where you put lever point under the foot, as far as where you set the brake over on the upright foot versus the really low slung foot. If you measure it the same off the dorsal wall, you create a wreck. You actually learn to work from the back of the foot forward. but it's going to vary from foot to foot. And you use some of the same guidelines. It's just learning to work from the back forward.
Based on the drawings that you have here, and the one in the center is the long and weak. Okay.
Right.
Now, to get from long to weak, just the way that hoof is right there, to an ideal situation, what's a time frame to get it to that point?
We're not going to change the length of the pastern.
Okay.
What we can do on a foot like that is bring the mechanics. That foot's going to shove everything forward really hard, toe, heel, everything. And when we're shoeing that horse, we need to look at the center of the mass, center, try to figure out where the center of the joint is, and start centering up the load-bearing mechanics around the center of the joint, center of rotation.
So 6 months, a year, time frame on average. I'm just trying to get.
Yeah, there's an average. I don't know what it is.
It all depends on the horse.
Depends on the horse. Depends on the rider. Rider skill makes a big difference. If a rider cannot ride, it's going to compress the foot and shoot it out forward harder.
But what if the horse is just a pasture horse? It's not being ridden at all. It's not working. It's just out there fat and happy.
It likes being fat and happy.
Would it speed up the process or slow down the process of it changing?
You wouldn't have the impact of the human, and you wouldn't have the problem could be caused by saddle and lack of movement in the shoulders.
So it would probably speed it up a little bit.
In some ways, it would be easier.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just checking. And then I'm looking at the last one, the short and steep. I don't know how you would get it to be that much of a difference as far as going to the ideal length over on diagram A.
What are the tendons and ligaments going to allow? What's the length of your check ligaments? That all plays a part in it.
Would you do surgery at all on any of these to cut the tendons?
I wouldn't, because I'm not a surgeon.
Well, I know you wouldn't, Mike. I'm talking about have surgeons gone in there or vets gone in there and cut.
In extreme situations, they have gone surgical. But the deal of it is on these types of problems, you really, really need to deal with this when they are very young.
Okay. So
because we can do a lot when they're very young. The problem is bringing the aged horse to us. As far as the upright foot, we need to be moving on that before they're 3 months of age.
So find it early, get it checked out early, and
get it done early while we have a chance of doing something.
All right, guys, stick around. When we come back, we're going to talk about the proper balance movement and actually the rider of a horse, of how you ride a horse and how it affects the feet down below. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein. He'll be right back. Oh, now it's time for me to read.
I think my finger's broken.
Why is your finger broken? Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein. Don't forget, we're giving away a couple Dover Salary gift cards. The way you can get those is to make sure you like Mike Stein over on Facebook, comment on any of the articles that he posts up there, and also you can comment on any of the YouTube videos that we have up there. Comment on those, and we'll pick a winner at random and send them out to you. I'll reach out to you, get your physical address, and we'll throw some magnets and stickers in there as well. And over my far hand side is Mike Stein. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you?
All right. You all right over there? You said your finger's broken?
It wouldn't work.
You got to do that thing where you cuff when you do the. I forget how you do it, where you pull the.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Apparently, I wasn't coordinated enough to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I was trying.
So now we're going to read one of Mike Stein's mentors growing up was Tony Gonzalez. And Tony has written a book called The Proper Balance Movement, A Diary of Lameness.
Well, that's assuming I'm grown up.
It's still debatable, right?
Right.
So this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the balance of the rider and how a balance of the horse, hold on, and how a balance of you on the horse affects the way the horses move. Now, Tony has written this in first-person narrative, so as I'm reading it as if he was talking. So starts out like this. Once a horse has a rider on its back, it no longer maintains its own balance. A horse now has to adjust its movement stance in order to accommodate the rider's weight. The adjusted motion with the horse and the rider reflects the pressure on the skeletal structure as well as the muscle structure,
Yes.
Hold on. I'm hitting buttons there. Upper body Pressures now influence the lower leg pressures. Lower leg pressures now will show up in hoof wear. Most of the people don't realize that when a horse is being trained to take a rider, the horse takes a while to adjust to the changes. During this adjustment periods, problems can occur and form in the lower leg distortions. Forging is a big problem. Interference of the legs where the front legs hit the hind legs and ankles. Stumbling are common problems. When I, Tony, became interested in one leg lameness, I realized that the occurrence of the problem with the horses was related to the quality of the rider's standards. The goal for many riders became perfect execution of performances. No one can blame for wanting that, but the horses' problems arose when people began setting standards and performances for their horses that the horses were physically unable to achieve in constant fashion. This causes eventually breakdown of the animal. So, Mike, explain what Tony was going through in this situation.
In this situation, I'll tell you, I've got to have dealt with this. When you put up, horses, too many times are not fit enough to carry a rider when we put a rider on there. We create them sagging in the middle. We lock up the shoulders because they need that so they don't land on their nose. And then all of a sudden we've got interference problems. We've got stumbling problems. They're not prepared to carry the weight. The other thing is, like he was talking about, we set our standard as far as we want to go to. We're going to the Olympics, right? And
we are?
And we're going to do it next week.
Yes.
So there you go. It takes, and dealing with Diego.
My horse.
Your horse. Slowing the process down a little bit. Getting the horse fit enough. If we go to, we've got to do this without building our basics to where they need to be, too many horses have been wrecked. And swapping riders, the feet will change. I had a situation some years back where a daughter was riding a horse and the mother rode. The daughter was the show person. The daughter was competing. The daughter was jumping. The horse that she was riding came up with some navicular issues. Okay? So we got to get the daughter a new show horse, right? Got a new daughter a new show horse. Mama takes the horse over. Mom's relaxed. Mama didn't really ask the horse that much, but she rides. She puts miles in. Strange thing. The navicular type issues started clearing up. Guess what happened in a couple of years? The show horse started coming up with navicular issues.
So it was the rider, the daughter.
And they ended up swapping back. Too much tension, pushed too fast, too much impact. What is it? Shoulders are too braced. Yes, we're getting through a jump course, but if the shoulders are too locked up, they're not working as a shock absorber.
I know my wife, she rides every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and she was riding this morning. She always shows up right before the show starts. She comes back, and I ask her how her ride was today, and she's like, oh, Diego was really, really good. She said, we did a little bit of jumping today. I said, I thought we were doing dressage. What are we doing? And she's like, no.
Cross-training.
Yeah, she's cross-training and getting him more fit. To join anything. Now he wasn't jumping like you would see these 5-meter hurdles or anything like that. He basically just had like little cavalettes on the ground that were maybe a couple inches off the ground, just for him to kind of step a little higher to get,
pick him up, lift him up, make him round up a little more,
right,
to build strength. And the good ones do cross train for the events. The eventers are definitely cross training,
right.
So yeah, that does make a big difference. And riders can make a huge difference. A few years ago, I had a situation where the horse had been doing pretty good. Horse was probably being asked to do more than that horse was capable of doing. As far as we're moving up the ranks. Nice little horse. Had a few road miles on him, could pack along for a good while, do some nice maneuvering and all that sort of deal if kept fit enough. Rider got injured. Rider had a knee surgery. Rider was wearing a great big huge hinged brace on the knee after the knee surgery. Went along. A few months later, horse hadn't been doing too much. Doctor says I could ride, but I'm going to wear my knee brace. oh my God, my horse is moving funny. You need to come fix his feet.
Fix his feet or fix your feet?
Fix the horse's feet, correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's gotten bad. I don't know what you've done to my horse. Now, this has happened plenty of times to farriers. We got a new saddle, and now my horse is stumbling, or whatever it might be. But, you know, the horse isn't even tracking in a straight line. The horse is tracking crooked. Won't go in a straight line. Do you think the brace into the side of the horse had anything to do with that? And the horse saying, oh, God, I got to get away from that.
It's like having a spur in your side.
Oh, no, that's it. I'm riding the same way. I've always ridden my whole life.
Nothing's changed.
No, you're not. No, you're not. And riders being in the center of the horse, riders being in correct position, because you can look at riders have nice position from one side, and it's just like the pictures of the horse where one side of the horse is different than the other. Take a picture from one side, take a picture from the other side, see are they sitting the same on both sides? Because sometimes they're not.
Just think about just you riding in a car. When you get in a car, you either sit on one butt cheek or the other butt cheek.
Exactly.
It's very rare that we sit in the car, straight, 10 and 2, and evenly in the chair.
You've carried buckets of water because you're farm labor.
I am farm labor.
Cheap farm labor.
Well, cheap is.
Well, it depends on how you get it, But, okay, you fill up your water bucket. You put it 2/3 of the way full. You're carrying it in one hand. Well, when you're sitting off to one side, that's what the horse is doing. How does that affect your gait and your movement? You can put half a bucket in both sides, be carrying more water, and carry it much easier with the weight equally balanced. If we're sitting off to one side, we can block the hip out on that side. Horse isn't stepping through like it should. Oh my God, the horse doesn't move even in the back end. We can get a rider in the middle of the horse, and no more than that. I don't know what you did to my horse, but now it's moving even in the back end. I didn't do anything. The trainer got you in the center of the horse.
Right, exactly. If I was sitting on the horse, I would be carrying the water bucket just to balance me out.
Right, yes.
I'd sit off on one side.
So we're going to have, if we got something going on up top, it's going to affect impact. It's going to affect how well the horse is staying sound. It's going to make a difference. And locomotion, straightness, performance. Can we get the horse under the body? We always got to get the horse under the body to get it off the front end. If we've got a rider who is unsteady, a rider who is not stayed in the saddle where they should be, they're creating pressure in the horse's back. We want our horse to lift up so the hind end can come through. If they cannot lift up, guess what? They're stuck on the front forehand. If they're stuck on the forehand, you get more movement from the elbow down, so the knees come up too high. Hunter horses are always fussing about, my horse has too much knee action. My horse has too much knee action. My horse, and we're perched up on their shoulders, blocking their shoulders. But this is how we ride, and this is how we fit the saddle and everything else. And we've got too much knee action. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
All right, guys, stick around. When we come back, we're going to talk about a case study with some x-ray pictures of a horse named Eileen. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein. He'll be right back. Come on, Eileen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Is that good?
That is good.
Okay. Doing all right?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you?
Good. What do you got for the rest of the day? Anything?
I got to go see the funnel.
Go now.
Not for the rest of the day.
Oh. Do you need to go now?
Wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Goodbye, coffee.
Thanks for coming out.
We're back.
Horse named Eileen.
Horse named Eileen.
Let's go down. You came out of picture frame. Move to the. There you go. There you go.
Okay.
There we go. Perfect.
Right.
You ready? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein. Don't forget, if you'd like Mike Stein to perform a clinic out at your location, the way you get in contact of them, get a hold of them, is you go to equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page, it says contacts. or actually says clinics. Fill out that little form there, and Mike and I can perform a clinic out at your location, do a broadcast out at your location, or Mike can perform a clinic out at your location as well. And he just got back from the Dover Saddler clinic last week, and we've got some gift cards. And if you'd like to get these valuable gift cards, the way you do that is go to Facebook, comment on some of the posts that Mike has posted up there, and also make sure you like his page as well. And also, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video over on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe over there and comment on some of the videos, and we'll pick someone at random. I'll reach out to you and get your information. And over to my far end side is Mike Stein. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you doing?
You doing better now?
I'm doing much better.
I'm sure you are. Now, we're going to talk about this case study of a horse named Eileen. So now's the chance, if you're not watching this on YouTube, now's the chance to go over to YouTube right now and check out this video as well. So here we go. We're looking, oh, that's the wrong one. This is a picture of, where's she at? Where's she at? I put it right here. Here she is.
There she is.
This is Eileen. So what are we looking at here, Mike? This is an x-ray, and the x-ray is a little bit crooked. Can I turn it? No. I'm seeing if I could. I was trying to square it up a little bit.
Dizzy.
Yeah.
Well, she's not square.
Hold on. What did I do?
What did you do?
Can I'm trying to rotate it so it's straight on the, there. I was trying to get your red line even so you could see how off squared, off centered the.
But look at the block underneath.
All right.
Is that even now?
Oh, let's see. Let's get that even first. All right. So let's get the block even first.
Okay.
Okay, there. Now the block is even. So here we go. What are we looking at?
The block is even. The block is on a level floor.
And what are we looking at
And
here?
we're looking at x-ray that is shot from front to back. And this will carry all the way in the coronary band. If you can kind of see where the coronary band is on the x-ray. Mm-hmm. And look at the alignment of that coffin bone. Now, our inclination is to let's get everything completely straight. Look at the way the joint is formed in the pastern joint, which is up right there. Mm-hmm. Okay. And look at the bottom of the foot where that is formed, the bottom of the coffin bone. Mm-hmm. Look at the coffin joint itself, which is in between.
Yep.
And what happens to that joint space? And if we force that leg straight, is the leg is not completely under the foot.
The leg looks like if you've ever hammered like a piece of wood or something into the ground and you hit like a rock, it looks like it's kind of like compacted and kind of shifted off to the side a little bit.
Yeah, and you can even see compression rings on that medial side of the foot. So there are some odd mechanical forces that you're dealing with. If you do something for medial lateral breakover, if you do it, you've got to center the bone column, not necessarily where the foot wants to go to support your tendons and ligaments, because if you go too far under on that medial side as they roll that way, you can create some strain on the collateral ligament. So that's some of what is thrown at you. We need to get this horse sound, and I want the horse's leg straight, and the way it's formed, it is not straight. So we got to figure out how to work with what we got. When we're working in the vet clinic, we get stuff like this, and so what I'm trying to do when I'm building a package for me to laterally is there again center the load.
Now, do you know the history of this horse, or you were just brought in to look at and examine this x-ray?
This was some time back. This was probably last summer, looking at where it came up, and this was just an odd x-ray. And we're in the vet clinic, so there was something going on. Best I can remember, we got the horse relatively happy and went down the road.
Do you know what the age of this horse, or roughly about the age of this horse, and what was the horse's job?
I think that the horse's job primarily was just like a light riding, trail riding horse, primarily. And we needed to get happy enough to do that job.
Now, if this left untreated, what would happen to this horse? Would it correct itself if no one was riding it, or would it continue to get worse?
No, as far as that bone column alignment, we're not changing that at this point in this horse's life. What we did do is, if you look at the bottom of the coffin bone between there and that board, there's not a lot of real estate there. We were able to build some depth under the foot and mechanically place the load under the bone column. And that's, side to side and front to back. So, get the horse where we have some depth, because they're chronically out there, there's too many horses where the sole depths are too thin on ridden horses. And
is it because of naiveness of the owners that
sometimes,
I mean,
naiveness of owners, naiveness of people working around horses. We're all trying to do the best we can for them.
I've got some like family members that have property and stuff, and they've had horses. Now, as far as them being like trail horses and stuff, that's basically what they did. They just bought them because I've always had a horse.
Nothing wrong with that.
But they never really, quote unquote, took care of them, and they always had problems. And it's like people like that. It's kind of like when you have people with dogs, and dogs are like chained to the fence, with a 3-foot chain, and are left out in the snow. And those people are like, they get in trouble.
It's rough when they get left out in snow in Florida, right?
Right, exactly. But I'm talking about when you see this, when a horse is like this, how come other issues haven't been taken as far as, I don't want to say charging someone or filing something against these people? Say, hey, look, your horse is like this. This horse should not be like this if you were to take care of it.
I think this person was trying very hard to do the right thing by this horse. They were running into problems, so they went looking for answers. Some of these horses that you're talking about may and may not get any care. And, if it comes up with problems where it can't, that's just what happens. Sometimes that's the attitude. I think basically people want to do good by their horses, but they're
uneducated as far as what needs to be done.
Right. And there's always place to learn for all of us. We will never see it all. We will never learn it all.
And I know my family members come from a long line of family members that are like, these are working horses. When the tires blow out, get rid of the horse, we'll get another horse.
Correct.
And you hate to see that, with all the stuff that, as far as like the time and the effort that I see on the other spectrum of my wife and how much money she puts in to making sure the horse is perfect, and how much training to make sure proper diet, nutrition, and exercise, and, not too much of this and not enough of this and all that stuff, and all the, the chiropractor and the x-rays and you coming out and everything else in between. And then on the other spectrum, it's like, oh, well, tire's flat on that one, put it down and go buy another one.
Correct. Yes.
Hey, that makes me sick sometimes. It really does.
Just go get you another truck.
Yeah, I guess so. But it does. It turns my stomach. I mean, I'm not a horse person by any means. My wife, like I said, is the horse person. But I understand it. It's a living, breathing thing. I don't understand how it can get to this point. If you've had the horse. Now, granted, this person probably bought the horse and didn't realize it or realize it. We can fix this to a certain point. And not someone getting in trouble for it. I want answers. I want names.
That's another one of those deals where at a young enough age, we may have been able to do something with it.
Yeah.
But at this age, we got what we got.
Yeah. All right, guys, stick around. One more little segment, and we'll let you get back to enjoying your ponies. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein. He'll be right back. You okay, Mike?
Yes.
I got a little sensitive on that one.
You are sensitive. It's okay. You can get sensitive. You're just a sensitive fella.
Well. It just doesn't get any easier.
No.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stein. Make sure you follow him over on YouTube. Make sure you like him over on Facebook. And don't forget, we'll pick a random commenter for one of these Dover Saddler gift cards. And I'll reach out to you and get your email address and stuff. But make it a good comment. Don't just put, I was here first or something like that. Get involved with the program because that's what we want. We want to educate you to create sounder horses from the ground up. And over to my far hand side is Mike Stein. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you?
Doing good. I'm doing well, I should say. I got to stop saying good. I say we're doing well.
You're doing good or...
I'm doing gooder.
A lot gooder than I used to be.
All right, guys. What did we learn today? Talking terminology, the 3 basic pastern conformations, the ideal, the long and weak, and the short and steep. Give a brief description on all 3 of those, Mike.
The ideal would be have enough slope in the pastern that we're not creating too much impact, but being short enough and strong enough that we're not overloading tendons. The long pastern, they're going to shoot the toe out front, and they're going to be prone to have tendon and ligament problems. The upright pastern is going to probably have a choppy stride, and we're going to have impact problems that is going to show up. Navicular syndrome, joint problems as far as the joints are hammering together when the horse moves.
So the ideal pastern is a modern length and where the angles are slightly steeper than the rear legs compared to the front. The long and weak, the horse pasterns are too long relative to the length of the limbs are weak and may propose the horse to injure the tendons and ligaments. And the short and steep means the steep pasterns give the horse a choppy, rough ride and may lead to lameness due to the extra concussions of the bone column.
Yes. What you said.
Exactly. And also the proper balance of movement, chapter 11, the balance of a rider. And I'm going to read this little snippet from Tony Gonzalez's book. And it says, today horses are being broken as young as 1.5 years old, and they are brought back as 2 years old in many cases. Expect to be perfect performance horses, or they're expected to be perfect performance horses. For many horse owners, it has become a burden because of the number of horses reaching the ridden age of 7 years old that have remained sound and free of any leg problems is really small. Some people say that horses can't make it that long without some kind of help because of the rigorous show schedules. Meanwhile, horses are one that really suffer. And he talks about the horse being 7 years old. Now, Diego's 5.
Right.
As far as the training schedule, do you think it's moderate? Do you think it's minimum? Or do you think it's right on task as far as the way my wife is riding Diego the horse?
I think it's kind of a moderate exercise program.
At 5 years old.
At 5 years old, he's growing. He's getting to be a big boy. Mm-hmm. And, I've worked back and forth with Brett for a long time. And with the training that he did in Germany, to get a horse to where they can start climbing the ranks as a dressage horse, it takes some time to get them there. If you start pushing them too young, you can break them. There are certain associations showing whatever where we might have, everything's based on our 2-year-old futurity, and we've got to have the 2-year-old futurity, the horse is ready to go. So when do you start working for it?
I don't know. I mean, everyone's different. Everyone who's born as a baby at 2 years, as even us as humans, are totally different.
And at what time of the year were you born? And when do you become 2 years old?
Right, exactly.
Because we're 2 at the first of the year with a lot of breeds, right?
Yes. So he could be technically almost 3. Right? Am I saying that right? Like if he's born on February?
He could be a year and a half and be 2 years old.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I got it backwards.
Yes.
And also, the case study of a horse named Eileen. I'm going to switch back to camera 6 here, and we can look at Eileen one more time. So here's Eileen.
Sometimes you got to run with what we're brought to the track, and it's hard to do anything with these odd bone column alignments once you've got an aged horse. And trying to force it in position when you've got an aged horse is not going to work. The bones are constantly remodeling, and sometimes we need to sit down and take some pictures and know exactly what we got to deal with.
Now, this horse, you only have one x-ray of this foot.
Right.
What did the other 3 feet look like?
I think everything else was probably pretty good, and there's been a bit since, but I grabbed hold of that one because it was an odd x-ray.
Yeah. And then people who don't treat horses well should be beaten. I don't know. I'm just saying that. Was that it on Eileen?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Yeah. We'd like to thank each and every one of you for listening to us. Make sure you go over to equinedynamics.com, fill out that little form that says contact us. You can ask Mike Stein a question. We'll read it here on the air. Make sure you put a return address. We'll send you out some stickers, some prize, some magnets and stuff. And if you'd like to get some of these Dover saddlery, am I saying that right? Saddlery?
Dover saddlery, I think.
Celery.
Dover celery.
Dover saddlery. These gift cards, the way you do that is go over to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to them over there and comment on some of the videos. And also comment on Mike Stein's Facebook page. You can find both of them under Equine Dynamics Mike Stein. And we'll pick a winner at random, and we'll send them all out until we get them all gone here. On behalf of Mike Stein over there.
Have a good day. Have fun with your ponies.
My name is Travis Sane. See you next week.
All of the doggies are in the corral. All of your work is done.
Stumbled through it, but we're here.
little
Just close
thin.
your eyes and dream.
That's all right.
Little pal. Dream.